Hey, everybody, Loren Dougherty here from Alpha Edge Podcast. Today, we've got a very special guest, Mike Burwell, good friend of mine, one of my best friends, but he's got a pretty unique business that you wouldn't really think about, but it's there. And he's been doing it for a long time. How many years you been doing this for?
God, 36 years
6 years.
now.
Wow.
I mean, the company's been in business well over 50 years, but yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, for folks who've never their foot in this type of environment, what exactly do you guys do here at American Crematory?
A little bit of everything, but our elevator speech is we are one of the largest manufacturers of cremation equipment for both human and pet in the industry. So we manufacture, we're an OEM, we build ground up. It's our equipment, our design, our engineering, equipment, manufacturing, service, repair, parts, supplies, and ancillary. So anything that around the cremation space or what the client needs, we build. We don't outsource anything either. So
Right.
everything's done in here in house.
So they build crematories.
Yeah. Or they're commonly referred to as a retort. That's a common name for a cremator, crematory, cremation furnace, bunch of different names for it.
So tell me how you got in this business, man. Because I mean, this is not something that everybody does or would even think about doing, or that it's a pretty successful business. Like how did you get into it, and how did you get to where you're at?
Well, it still is a family business. I married into the business. So my father-in-law started the business back in the 60s, and he worked for a company called All Industrial Furnace, and they did industrial furnaces, and then they also found the niche for cremation furnaces early on in the 60s. So they were doing that, and then he branched off and started American Crematory. I met them and became part of the company in 91. And I'd always been an entrepreneur anyway. So I had my own businesses
What do we do before?
and, oh God, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a fleet wash company. I had a recoup and repackaging company where we went into beer houses and repackaged all the broken, put the new date codes on them, put them back into circulation.
What kid?
God, I've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I decided that I would sell my businesses that I was working on and go full time with American Crematory because I was just learning the business, the ins and outs. And we were very small. I mean, we were very, very small. I mean, if you probably show a video of what we have here
Yeah.
now, but we were like 1,800 square feet. It was tiny.
What are you at now?
It was, we're at 40,000 square feet.
And busting at the seams.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we
Right.
could use a little bit more space.
Yeah.
And every time I've moved, I've always said, oh, we're never going to be able to outgrow this. And then it just, takes on a life of its own and we outgrow it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're pretty comfortable here. I could use some more office space, but
Yeah.
we're all right. So that's kind of how I got into it. I married into it. I learned ground up. I started sweeping the floor. I mean, I really didn't know anything about cremation equipment.
Yeah.
So my father-in-law, Don Ridgway, he taught me how to build equipment. He taught me how to brick equipment. He taught me electronics. He taught me, all of the guts of the equipment. Combustion engineering is a major component and an important part of that. So he taught me all of that. And then as he gave me more and more reign to kind of build, I saw that the industry as a whole is huge. It wasn't just our little service and repair and build a machine or two here or there.
Right.
It was much larger. And so I was like, well, I know that I can build something greater than what we have. So it took a while. And then when he fully retired and I purchased the company, that's when it really took off. And
Because you guys are worldwide, right?
yeah, we sell
Basically.
equipment. We sell equipment all over the world. We are getting ready to go to New Zealand and do some service work. We've got a bunch of equipment over there. Vietnam, we've got a bunch of equipment. Guam, Saipan, Venezuela, Mexico,
Hawaii.
Cayman Islands. Hawaii is not really international. It's
Oh, yeah,
more
I
the
guess so.
States, but a bunch of equipment in
Yeah.
Hawaii. Yeah. But yeah, all over the place. I can't think of every place, but yeah, wide, worldwide, wide, 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 wide.
So it says you service everything. So you don't just do your, I mean, I'll try and show you guys some video of what he's got going on in the shop here. But, for me being kind of a technical guy, he has some pretty technical stuff here. Like they've got these machines, they're beautiful machines for what it's worth, right? And the technology in his machines is something you developed, right?
Right.
And they have a whole panel room that these guys are in there just wiring panels
UL
and
panel shop.
UL panel shop. So it's pretty wild what you built.
Yeah, so we've designed and engineered all of our own combustion and electronics and everything. And we can kind of, if we once we do a tour, I can kind of elaborate on that. But we want our equipment, and I kind of demand that our equipment be built on a much higher quality level than some of the other equipment out there. Not to say that other equipment sucks. I'm not trying to beat down anybody, but I want our equipment to be the best, and I want it to last. I don't want it to break down because then you get a bad reputation like it breaks.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. The service is everything. So you guys do service as well. You service other people's.
We do. We're probably one of the last main major manufacturers that services all makes and models. So you don't have to buy our equipment to hire us to service a product that you have or a piece of equipment that you have. We'll work on everything.
As CEO, I mean, where do you spend most of your time? I mean, you spend most of your time. I mean, you're out in the field too. Like
I'm traveling all the time.
So you're always working.
Whether it's
whether
it's
weekend,
meeting with corporate clients or meeting here in house for production and service and repair, or on the floor, or trying to get caught up on 500 emails. It just
right.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
So
What's the part of running this company that nobody outside sees? Like stuff that keeps you up at night.
what does keep me up at night?
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, I mean, we asked that.
I think everybody's got the same type of problems.
Yeah.
It's just a different industry or something like that. I mean, you've got everything from employee issues to production lead times or supply chain or, just
everything.
everything.
And the reason why I asked that question,
financials, everything.
I asked that question because, this is for people who want to start a business or want to get into business or are already in business, right? That kind of either don't know where to go with it or think it's this grandiose thing, right? And it is. We do well, we have a good time, but we work our asses off. I don't think people see that side of things, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. You have to hustle day in and day out, even when, you're like, what the hell? What's going on? What are you doing? Why are sales down? Stuff like that.
Sure.
So you still got to keep grinding. You still got to keep your vision and your goals and make sure you're working towards those every single day. I mean, there's no.
Yeah. I know you do. Literally, I'll be like, crazy. Why is Mike at the office on Sunday at 6 a.m?
Yeah. A little nutty and driven and
very driven.
Passionate about what I do. I think that's the biggest thing. If you have passion for something, then you're more likely to succeed. You're also more likely to fail, but those failures help build you into a successful entrepreneur.
Sure. Absolutely. Hiring is brutal. Everybody knows that. I mean, I personally know you treat your employees like gold, trips and fishing trips and, annual things. And what do you think that you do that keeps people around and keeps them here, and how you treat them? And I mean, that's a tough thing for companies.
It is.
Tough thing for everybody.
We make sure that we focus on our culture, that we take care of our employees, that we treat them well, and we know that their families are just as much a part of our company as they are, because they're dependent on us as much as the employee is.
Sure.
How do we find people? I mean, it's a arduous process. I mean, you find some good ones, you find some bad ones, and you got to weed through them,
Yeah.
And most of the time, the bad ones, they'll weed themselves out.
Yeah.
But, hire and training and we're a niche. very niche market, very niche industry. So you have to hire and train, and people will have to like to travel. They've got to want to travel. They've got to be, of certain mindset.
Sure.
Yeah. And you got to want to work hard. We all work hard.
Weird concept, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Work hard.
Yeah. Nothing's easy in life. I mean, if you want something, you got to work for it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. My mom used to tell me it's stuck in my head forever. You can do anything you set your mind to, right?
yeah,
That's true. I believe in that. What's the hardest decision you've ever had to make as an owner?
to fire my children. Yeah.
That's a very hard
Yeah.
decision.
Not necessarily fire, but suspend and keep people in check. We are a family business, and all my kids work in the business in one role or another. And I think letting people go for non-performance when you really know that they might have it in them
Yeah.
is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Let's see here. Cremation,
Crematators.
cremators, has gone from the exception to the norm in single generation. From where you sit, how has this industry changed the most?
Well, we've seen the cremation rate skyrocket. Families aren't planted anymore. They're fragmented. So they're depending on cremation more and more because families don't have cemetery plots. I mean, some still do, but
Mhm.
it's not the norm anymore. Cremation
I would imagine land's getting
land's getting tighter.
right.
So we're seeing, and we always have seen increases year by year, but over the next 20 years is when we'll see a huge jump because of all the baby boomers.
Right.
So they're getting of that age. And cremation's obviously less expensive, but the services that go along with it are not. So yes, the cremation itself, but you still want to have end of life services, celebrations, all those parties and stuff that you want to do for your families. Still part of it. So
Right. You deal with a lot of like EPA stuff, right? Like, I mean, that's a big part of what you
yeah,
do. What are the challenges of that? I mean, especially in California, I know like we've done some cameras where you can watch your stacks and what's burning if it's clean.
yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that and how that works and what the challenges are with that.
yeah. So our EPA in Southern California is the most stringent, and most of the country kind of follows South Coast as the example. So we are when we engineer, we are very cognizant of the emissions. We want a very clean burning piece of equipment, and they stack test the equipment to make sure that we are below or at the allowed threshold. And really, people think like, "Oh my God, you're got all of this emissions and smoke and everything like that." What they don't understand is it's water vapor. We're 87% water. So what we're doing is just reducing a solid mass of water, muscle tissue, and fat into a vapor and then burning off that vapor.
Right.
And then so you've got products of combustion from the fuel, whether it's propane or natural gas. So that's really what has to be managed. It's not really necessarily the body. It's
Yeah.
the emissions from the combustion process. So we're moving to ultra low NOx burners so that we're cleaner. The fuel emissions are cleaner. Particulates are next to nothing because of the way we engineer our equipment.
Right.
So we always meet or exceed any environmental regulation or source test compliance that we need to.
Yeah.
So we're very cognizant of that.
Yeah. I remember you telling me like, I mean, I'll call you and you'd be at a city board meeting or something, like,
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
you're pretty involved in that type of
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
have to be.
You have to be because the public's conception or misconception is, oh my God, there's bones and there's human ash and human parts and whatever they think is
Right.
coming out of
Yeah.
the equipment,
That's not the
and
case
it's just not the
whatsoever.
case.
Yeah.
So, and you've got to be able to speak to them on a level that they can then understand.
Sure.
Like
Right.
people never think of what I just said. We're mostly water.
Yeah.
They don't think about that.
I never knew that till you told me.
Yeah.
I was like, huh, well, that makes sense. So the ashes are actually bone fragment, right?
They are. So most people refer to this as the remains that come back are ash, and they're not. So the carbon, the 5% of carbon that we are, is the bone, and the bone doesn't necessarily burn. So the bone marrow and stuff will burn, but the bone itself stays almost intact unless you're breaking it apart. That's what's retrieved. That's what's pulverized into a fine powder, which is commonly referred to as ash.
Got it.
But it's pulverized bone, it's not ash.
Yeah. Did you ever think you'd be at this point in your life? I mean, as a kid, as a young adult, I mean, you've always had ambition, right? Like, I think back on I never thought I'd be in business for myself or really enjoy business. I do. I love doing this stuff. I love doing the new AI stuff, but I never ever thought I'd be in this position in life, right? And enjoy it and be good at it. I
Yeah,
feel like I'm pretty good at it, and
I think we both are. I think we both have passion about what we do, right? So early on, I always knew that I wanted to work for myself. So I came from my grandparents raised me, and I always knew, and they were hardworking. My grandfather worked for an aerospace company. My grandmother was a nurse. So I always knew that I wanted to work for myself. I knew that I wanted to build something. I like to build, whether it was when I was a kid, I was building Volkswagens or
yeah,
Volkswagen motors or working on boats or whatever it was.
yeah,
I always like to build stuff. So I love to build businesses as well. So I've got multiple businesses,
right.
uh, and I'm always like, what am I going to build next?
I
I always love that chase, right?
we have a lot of that coming
That's
down.
the that chase is what's kind of excites me, right?
Yeah,
So in this industry, this particular business, there's something new every day. There's a new problem, there's a new success, there's a new hurdle, there's a new, speed bump that there's always something new,
yeah.
you know.
AI. Let's talk a little bit about that. Where do you see? And we just had a conversation before we started this about AI and what we're doing, and what are your thoughts on it with business and just general overall thoughts as to where it's going to go, how it's going to take businesses to the next level.
Well, I don't have a lot of experience with it. We're just now kind of dipping our toe into the pond of that AI and seeing how we can use that here to benefit our clients. I know you're very pro and got a lot of stuff going on in AI. So I think at the beginning, I think from what I can see and what I read is that it's going to be a huge segment in any business for the better. I mean, or it's generated to or built to help.
Sure.
So I don't think it's a deterrent. I think it's going to take some time before it's just like plug and play. Here's an AI,
Right. Yeah.
plug this in for that.
Right.
But I do believe that it's going to help businesses in general in different areas. So
Yeah.
kind of streamline, right? Streamline, per- perfect, and expedite certain processes and procedures and practices that every business has to have.
Yeah, you couldn't hit that more nail on the head. Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's something that's just as you said. I mean, it's something we're building that is going to help businesses and create AI and automation is what we say. Not necessarily replace jobs. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people think that that's going to happen. Will it happen with some things? Yeah, but they're like minuscule things.
Yeah.
Like somebody answering the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
You're always going to have a need for manual labor. But as we see more robotics come in and stuff like that,
yeah.
we're going to see more and more of it. I'm
Are
sure.
you seeing the robotics in this industry?
Not yet.
Because we have other friends that we've talked to,
Yeah.
I'm talking about, but was like, yeah, like I can buy this $40,000 robot that can cut everything out and do everything for me and spit it out in 2 seconds, where it
Yeah.
takes me 20 minutes to do it.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of that at the manufacturer shows you've been to?
I haven't, and I've been too busy this year to hit the manufacturing shows, but I did watch some of the videos from those shows, and they've got some incredible stuff. And that kind of piques my interest and
Sure.
sparks some, like, oh, I could use that for that. I could use that for that,
Yeah.
to streamline. But yeah, so like AI, I've got a vision and a kind of a want or drive towards AI for my equipment. And we're working on a platform right now that is a predictive maintenance platform instead of preventative maintenance, because everybody in my industry is all preventative.
Sure.
You tell me what you need, or we go and tell you what you need, and
Mhm.
then, we fix it. But what we're
This will
working on
actually,
is an actual data-driven system that says, okay, you have 10% life left, you have 40% life left, and
right.
here's the date by which you need to have this repair or service done. Here's your scheduled date, here's your cost, your proposal, boom, boom, boom,
That's
have it
sweet.
in.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. If you could tell the younger generation wanting to get into a business, like, you know, I kind of started doing this type of thing and the consulting type of stuff because I always have younger people come to me or anybody in general just say, "Hey, how do you start a business? I want a business." If I had $100 or $1 for every person who's asked me, "Oh, I want to be in business for myself," and then none of them do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you probably get that all the time too. But if you have somebody who's really seriously thinking about that, I mean, what would you tell them?
Well, you first have to have passion for something. So what do you have passion for? And then you can take that and possibly turn that into a business. But originally, or even before that, you've got to be able to take on risk, because if you're not able to take on any risk, there's never going to be any reward. So if you're like afraid of risk and you don't want to take that bungee jump off the cliff
Yeah.
and have that rush of adrenaline,
Yeah.
then business might not be for you. But again, I think separately, the younger generation is their business models are slightly different. Ours are more focused on work and goals and labor to get to a certain result. They have technology now that we
Right.
didn't have,
100%.
that support or drive their businesses. When you think of like
Yeah.
the amount of money that these influencers make just with a phone
It's ridiculous.
and product placement and stuff like that. We didn't have that.
No.
We had to hustle.
Yeah.
We had to pick up the phone. I can remember sitting in my grandmother's living room when I was starting one of my companies and just had the phone book out
Mhm.
and just
The yellow pages.
and
What
just
is that?
dialing for dollars, man.
Yeah.
Just like cold calling,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
perfecting my like cold call,
Yeah.
speech, and which was now called an elevator speech.
Yeah.
But
I still did.
you
I did it
know,
for the vending machine company. That's how I
yeah,
got what I got at.
yeah, and
Start calling.
that it's totally different now. The
Well,
younger generation.
they've got
So
Chat
much,
GPT and Claude. I mean, think of a business, plug it in, bam, you got a business,
yeah,
right? But I remember back in the day, God, I remember when I first started my company, I just asked a lot of fucking questions, like everybody. Went to my accountant. It was like, hey, how do I start a business?
yeah.
He's like, well, son, there's S Corp, there's a C Corp. What's that? There's an LLC. Well, what's that? Well, and then so he kind of had to explain it to me and then he helped me put it together and away we went. But I had a mentor too. So in the alarm industry, I had a guy who owns a big alarm company in the Central Valley. And I'd met him on a Mexico trip at some point. The nicest guy, and he really helped me and mentored me. So I had somebody to call. Sometimes he's a little reluctant because I was kind of nipping at his heels a little bit, I think, but for the most part, it took a lot to figure out what I was doing and how to do it,
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure. You have to make mistakes.
You have to.
So
And we've all made them.
uh, mentors are a huge part of any business, I think, or anybody's success in business. So my father-in-law, who started American, huge mentor. I had another mentor when I was building and learning how to design combustion valve trains and combustion processes and how the electronics controlled that and all of this different stuff. So I had a mentor there as well. And then I've had business coaches as well, which
Yep, me too.
have not necessarily a mentor, but help coach you through different platforms and
Mhm.
coaching techniques to elevate
And it works,
that.
right?
It does. 100%.
So
100%
you
works.
and I were going through a coaching thing at one time,
Yeah.
and not the same one, but I think back on that quite often and go, well, shit, I'm actually using what they were saying, as like subconsciously almost.
Yeah.
So I do think it's important.
Yeah. And I lean on that stuff a lot, even when I feel like I'm not achieving, I always feel this way. And I think a lot of business owners do, like, you're not doing enough or not enough is getting done.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
You always feel like you're
so,
behind the eight ball.
oh my God, always. So I
You think
always
you're doing
have that. And sometimes I lean on some of my coaching techniques, or I'll pick up a book and I'll read an inspirational book or something that I think might be inspirational,
Mm,
or watch a podcast or watch a video, or maybe even join a group,
right.
just to get
It's
that, like,
beneficial.
yeah, just
Even
get
if you
that
join like a
feedback.
business group, like I was part of a contractor's business group for a couple of years. I mean, it's just old dudes that have been in the trades for years,
Oh
and
yeah,
we'd sit around and have breakfast and bullshit, and most of the time. But you kind of, if you had a question, you can ask a question, and I always got a lot out of it. Like I enjoyed that.
yeah.
We stopped doing that, but
God, I remember early on I was part of like Chamber of Commerce
oh yeah, I was on the
groups.
board of ours. Yeah,
Yeah, and then one of them was wild. There used to be this organization, it was like a barter organization. I was a member of that, and you would trade your services
yeah,
for other
I remember
services,
that.
and,
Yeah,
you could elevate and get more of a service from this guy, and he needed your service, so it all, worked out. He
Mhm.
felt he was getting more value, you felt you were getting more value, but there was nothing really monetarily,
exchanged. Yeah.
no money exchange, but services and all those
Did all
services
those
are
people go to
valued.
jail?
I know, I think that was Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, probably. One thing I would say too is to the younger people is that if you're starting to get into business, is doing like, did you ever do BNI?
What's that?
Business Networking International, BNI, like
Mhm.
business networking groups. Well, there's a huge conglomerate. It's called BNI. It's basically they have business groups in each town, and they have one like business person per in the group. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah, I've heard of those. Yep.
I did it for a long time.
It's like YPO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same thing. There's a couple different
Mhm.
versions, but I think if you're getting into business, it's a good way to get your name out there with other businesses and start networking. Right? You have to network. You have to put your name out there. I've been asked to come back multiple times. It's not for me anymore just because I'm kind of at a different level. I don't need to be in there doing that, and it's kind of a waste of time for me, or I can put my time. I don't mean like they're a waste of my time.
Right.
It's just
You don't have the
I
time
don't
to
have the
actually
time to
put
do
into
that
it. Yeah.
when it's already generated stuff. But it all was derived from that, right? So if you can get out there and get in those groups,
Join your trade organizations too. Like, we participate heavily in all of our trade organizations for our industry.
yeah,
So, I mean, I just did unconference in Scottsdale that one of our industry partners puts on, and that was unique and great, and it was very different. It was a different type of setting, a different type of feel. So I sat on a panel and stuff like that.
yeah,
So there's always ways to move the needle and build your success.
yep.
It's not always tied to money, but money definitely helps.
It doesn't suck.
It's not.
So I'm going to ask you just a few questions here, rapid fire questions, just kind of close this up. Coffee or early morning silence?
God, neither.
Quick. Come on.
Neither. I mean, it's iced tea for me.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
He's a nice too
it's
freak.
iced tea.
Best business book, or are you learn by doing kind of guy? You talked about books. What's the best
Yeah,
book that you've read?
how to win and influence friends. Right.
Is that what it is?
I think that's what. No, seven habits. That's the book. The 7 habits of successful. Stephen Covey. I know the author. 7 habits.
All
Read
right.
it.
I don't read. I don't have the
Should.
attention span for it.
Should.
One word for the next 5 years. What's it feel like to you for the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself here?
Growth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
growth, and then maybe retirement someday. Will you ever
One day.
retire?
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll ever
that's a
retire.
so I often thought that I had this number by the time I was like 55. I was just going to be retired and
Yeah.
doing whatever. I'm 56 and I'm still working and I enjoy it. So will I retire? I don't know. Like, I'm hoping that this becomes a legacy business because there's only two reasons to be in business, folks. It's build to sell or leave as a legacy for your family and have your family continue on that legacy. I've got both components. I could do either or.
Sure.
It just really depends on what the kids want to do.
Yeah. So where can people find you? I mean, it's not kind of a business that like
Yeah, I mean,
website.
AmericanCrematory.com is our website. 1-800-396-2254. I mean, that's our toll free. You can find us on YouTube. I've got some YouTube videos and stuff out there that we've done. I've got a YouTube channel. It's kind of, I mean, if you look up